Hello everyone, welcome back. Listen, you asked me to do it, so I am doing it. I am comparing the new MAC Studio Fix powder to the old one, but not just comparison as in, is it the same, is it whatever, just in general, if it is a good alternative version or a good newer version, right? So I need to finish up this makeup look, I need to tidy up under the eyes. But here's the deal, many of you will know, because I always say it, because it was a huge part of my makeup experience. I worked for MAC for many, many years. Studio Fix Powder Foundation is one of the most iconic powder foundations in existence. I have a lot of experience using this foundation. I loved it on clients. I loved it on customers. It was just a essential, sorry, you know when the inside of your lashes is just like getting you. It was an essential part of a kit, an everyday kind of makeup look. So MAC has changed the formula and it has really pissed some people off. I actually haven't watched any reviews of it just yet, but I do have makeup artist friends who have used the new formula, and they weren't overly impressed. However, I'm not taking that into mind. I'm going to try it on myself today. My skin is the perfect skin type for this foundation. So MAC have removed talc from the formula. Now, I just want to talk about something. You may have heard scary stories about talc causing cancer, right? And that may be mainly because of the Johnson & Johnson courtroom situation and the Claire's Accessories situation where they found asbestos, I can never say it, contaminated talc. So this wasn't talc, it was talc that has been contaminated with asbestos. I'm gonna leave some links down below. Talc, factually, you won't find it anywhere online, has not been proven scientifically to cause any kind of cancer in humans. When it's contaminated with asbestos, then yes, you know, it has some bad effects. But how talc is regulated now, when it comes to including it in cosmetics, is a lot more thorough than it used to be, okay? So there is no need, full stop. Please research properly from credible sources, not some gym bro in a pharmacy holding talc. You know what I mean? Research credible sources. There is no need to fearmonger around talc. I did want to watch something with you guys first about the reason that MAC changed this formula. And some of you may be like, why is this such a big deal? One, it's a big deal because brands seem to be changing formulas a lot recently. And what they're doing with these formulas turns out to be a lesser than quality or a not so great finish compared to its original version that contained the talc. So when a brand is like, we're removing the talc now from this powder, everyone gets a bit shitty. Talc gives us smoothness on application and on finish, and that's why a lot of people like talc. Okay, let me find this video. Okay, so I actually couldn't find this video at the time of filming, so I have found it. So I'm just gonna do like a kind of live commentary reaction as we watch it together. And this is a clip from the Los Angeles podcast, which is a beauty podcast hosted by Kirby Johnson and Sarah Tan, I believe her last name is. And they are speaking to, I believe it is a creative director, or what's their names? I can't think of their names right now, from MAC.
We did not develop and launch this new powder in order to remove talc.
We do have to address the talc conversation. Talc was removed from this formula, and a lot of people have come to really love talc because of how it blurs the skin. Why did MAC feel it was essential to remove talc from this formula?
We did not develop and launch this new powder in order to remove talc. That was never what the ambition was. The ambition was modernizing a 30-year-old formula for a new age, addressing consumer preferences, being able to make the powder even more blurring. The spherical powders that have way more superior blurring attributes than talc does. Talc mainly is used for skin adhesion, and you know, we have boron nitrate and ASO in there, and the microionized pigments and the hydrophobic pigments that help with skin adhesion and locking things in place. We were able to take a powder that was only 8 hours of oil control to now 24 hours of oil control, which
Okay, you'll see in my wear test for this that the oil control situation being 8 hours may not be 100% truthful. And even with the original, it was never like, I mean, if you're gonna get oily, you're going to get oily. You know what I mean? Like a powder isn't gonna stop oil being produced in your skin. I don't like, this approach that they're modernizing an old formula when actually the formula was just fine. You take something like the other products, perhaps something like Studio Fix Fluid, which hasn't changed in years and years and years. It's like, why take a classic, one of the only products with talc in, and change it? And I do think it's because they are going to have to, whether a law comes in about talc or something like that, they are going to have to change it eventually, like people did with parabens. When people were fear-mongering around parabens, a lot of people removed those from their products and kept other preservatives in, and just, lent into the fear-mongering. I don't like that approach. The formula, in my opinion, didn't need modernizing. And again, from my wear test, you'll see the difference might not even be worth changing the whole formula.
In terms of the talc conversation, I'm sure people are hearing that in the news, in certain regions, there's impending regulatory changes that may impact the usage of talc in overall cosmetics. That cannot be ignored as well.
Why make something over when so many people love it?
Studio Fix Powder Foundation launched in 1992. A lot has changed in terms of technological advancements since that time. There are ingredient technologies that are new, processing ways that are new and advanced. This formulation was really done hand in hand with our artists. What they loved about it was the mattification, the color true and staying power. But the key of what they loved about it was the gesture. The magic of Studio Fix Powder Foundation is that it has a quick charge. So it deposits a lot of pigment and then you blend it down. And that blending down gesture is what creates that flawless look. Some of the pain points were cakiness of it, the settling, the cracking. This was the challenge. We looked at it like, if we were going to develop and launch the best powder foundation in the world that anybody had ever seen, what would that mean? We identified raw materials such as treated pigments. They have waterproof properties. They ensure that you're not going to get oil breakthrough. We use micro-ionized pigments, and that means that you're going to get the most color true because we're pulverizing these pigments to the most micronized size. And so you're going to get smooth application. You're going to get color true wear. Finally, we included spherical powders. And these spherical powders create this airbrush, flawless, much more blurred than the powder was before.
I want you to bear in mind these points about the finish, the way that they're claiming the finish is going to look, and just see what your personal opinion is when I try it on now on camera and when I show you my day with it as well.
Finish on your skin. And so now we have 24-hour oil control from 8 hours. We have 12 hours of wear and color true wear, and obviously non-fading and this silky matte finish. One of the pain points of the original was that it made you look dead, that it was a dead matte. This is a much more livelier matte because of the spherical powders.
My opinions on this, I now don't use MAC Studio Fix Powder plus Foundation enough to be like, oh my god, this is so crazy. But I can imagine if this is your thing, then you're going to be a little bit twitchy. So my usual shade is C3.5. I never use a sponge underneath for application. I only use it to retouch. As you can see, I always use a powder brush like this, always have, always will, because I like to apply a powder foundation by packing onto your face and buffing out like this, and I need the brush to be dense. I will use the sponge that comes with a new powder today to try it on, and I'll do a mix of the sponge and the brush. So when I was looking up my new shade, because they had this new thing, right, where they had this kind of like new chart where it was telling you if you're this shade, then now you're this shade, etc, etc. Something I couldn't get my head around was my shade was now NC15. I have six shades. So the shades that were suggested to me, I believe, were NC16 and NC15. So I did also buy C3.5, which is my normal shade, C4, NC17, and NC13, because I saw NC15 and I was like, wait a minute, that's too light. But then I thought also, when I'm wearing Studio Fix powder, I tend to go a shade that's one shade lighter anyway, because it tends to oxidize on my skin. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just remind myself of the formula, discontinued powder. I'm also just going to blot my skin from any excess skincare, sorry, that may be sitting on the surface of my skin. But I have used formulations that aren't overhydrating, but aren't going to kind of like interfere with the formula of a powder. Okay, so C3.5 This is it here. Studio Fix does always have a little bit of a kick up when it comes to putting your brush in. So I always just like to load my brush up, start from the cheek and buff out towards the ear, like so. And I don't worry too much about my beard and my eyebrows. I'll just go over them with some makeup remover to get rid of any powder that's settling in them. Beautiful. Love this formula. I always give it just a little while just to sit on my skin. And then if I want to, I will go in with another layer. I don't mind too. Sometimes the powder foundations, especially on me, because I'm very like textured around this area, can look more textured when you put a powder on. But when my natural oils kind of get into the powder, and that's something I really like about powder foundations in general, it looks absolutely fine. Okay, so the new compact is flatter on top, which is fine. It just says MAC on. This kind of looks older than this. Like, I'll be like, oh yeah, this is the 90s version, this is a new version. But this is actually really great to stack up in your kit, to be honest with you. It stacks nicer. There's a little protective layer on, and this is a new one. Same pretty much. It's a nice matte. What's this? Are they refillable? Good. That's really good, actually. That's nice. So you can refill your compact. It's got like a little bit on the back here that you just pull out. Nice. That's cool. Okay. And then the pad underneath is a little, this is great. A little bit more structured. It has this point, like a lot of like cushion foundations have, this point so you can get in and around these areas. Okay, so I'm gonna, NC15 just seems like a joke to me. So actually it's not bad. This is C3.5 here, and this is NC15. So the NC15 is quite yellow. I don't know if you can see that, whereas the C3 looks kind of a little bit more, I want to say neutral, but neutral might not be the word. Let me open C3.5. They look the same, but the new C3.5, sorry, looks a little bit dark. C3.5, NC16. I actually do think, no, I'm going to go for NC16. And I'm going to try the sponge on the side. I'm going to try brush on the side of my face, sponge on my forehead. There's a lot more kick up than usual with a Studio Fix powder, but nothing too crazy. I have to be honest with you, it's not majorly different. Like, I'm not stunned into like, how could they do this to me? The only thing I am finding is I'm gonna have to build up a few more layers of the new one versus the old one. Let me just try that sponge. I would never recommend applying your powder foundation with a sponge anyway like this. I just think you're asking for trouble. This is great for retouching, but to have it as your one applicator is kind of crazy. It's always nicer with a brush. It's fine. It's getting a little bit caught up here, but that's because it's my brow product. I should have been a little bit more wary of that. I think the shade is off. I should have gone for NC15, but that's fine. We'll try that in the wear test. I'll do a wear test for you. I'm not overly disheartened, to be honest with you. Okay, so being 100% real, I'm looking at my face now. This camera. I am looking at my face now, and I'm looking at this side. I'm thinking, okay, that does look like powder, which it is. You know what I mean? Maybe if it was closer to my shade, it would be a little bit more less noticeable. I'm looking at the, wow, even the feel, even the old one with the talc, of course it has a lot more smoothness to it, but it's not crazy different. But I am looking at this side and thinking, okay, that looks less powdery than this does. This looks like powder. It looks like powder, and there's ways you can, you know, stop that from happening. I do have to say, I love Studio Fix powder foundation on deeper skin tones because it looks flawless. You can buff and apply and apply, and it always looks beautiful. So if you do have a deeper skin tone, I'm talking NC45, NW50, if I still like a shade, NW45 upwards, don't worry, you're going to be absolutely fine with a new formula and a new texture. If you do have a lighter skin tone, a fairer skin tone, or like a medium-ish like me, this is really difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. This is really difficult because I don't want to be overly critical and I don't want to be under critical, but I'm not seeing a reason to panic, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm not seeing such a huge difference that I'm like, why did they do this? I think it looks absolutely fine apart from the shade. Whoops. Apart from the shade. let me try a few products on top. I will try like a powder blush and a powder bronzer and just see how they sit. A powder blush, a powder highlight, just see how they sit on the two different formulas. I've actually never tried the What's Up Beauty. They sent me their bronzer and blusher ages ago and they're so stunning, so I'm just going to try them. Start with a bit of bronzer first and just see how that sits on top of the powders. I just picked up any shade. This is a blush. It's beautiful. It's like rosy, like a rosy rose. I have no qualms with this foundation. Let me just de-dust my face. No issues. I think it's absolutely fine. First, I'm going to do wear test for you. I'd be very interested to see how it sits throughout the day. Does it oxidize like the old one used to? Because this is meant to be longer wearing, the newer one. I don't have concealer on either, but I'm going to wear it by itself, obviously with skincare, and just see how it sits throughout the day. I'll be very interested to see. So let's do that now. Let's put the wear test in here now. Good morning. Today I am doing the wear test for the Studio Fix. New Studio Fix. Excuse me. It's like 6 a.m. and I'm getting ready. I'm going with shade NC15 because I wore it. I put it on. I wore it in daylight. And it looked fine. So today I'm filming with a brand. I've got a light here, so the lighting is terrible. I'm filming with a brand. I'm in a hotel room. I'm filming with a brand, doing a few things for their social media, and then sitting in a car on a hot day home. So we have a full day today. This is it. The mirror's dirty already. Let me grab my brush. I should actually do my brows first because I don't want to comb up into the product. I have a tiny bit of, not concealer, but I use some of the YSL Touche Éclat. I'm doing all the classic brands today, just because I don't want to put concealer on top of a powder, just because I don't want that texture, you know. Not the best angle, but I'm going to show you in daylight as well. I've done like very, very basic skincare. So I've done a serum and an eye cream, just to keep it kind of as simple as possible under the powder foundation. Not to say you can't do more, but I'm assuming if you're using a powder foundation, you have a drier skin, sorry, an oilier skin, or you're doing a show or something like that, you know what I mean? And it is gonna be a hot day today, so we'll see how this lasts. Okay, so I have the Studio Fix powder on. The only issue I have with this, right, especially on my skin, is where I want, let me see if I can get a better, I can see my skin more. Excuse me. So if I want like a better coverage here, I really have to build up that powdery texture. And that's not really what I want, especially because I'm just about to go and be on camera. It's all my clothes too. But we're testing, we're seeing, right? I'll keep you posted. So this is it right after in natural daylight. I was actually really surprised to see that natural matte. Like it still had a bit of a shine to it. This is 2 hours after that. I'm looking shiny, not too oily. Then I got in a car home and I was looking greasy. I was so greasy, but that's my skin. I would have taken other precautions, you know, powders and stuff like that. But because I'm doing a wear test, I wasn't doing all that. So this whole like, it stops oil, of course we know that's not a guaranteed thing. This is when I got home 2 hours after that. I look like just so shiny. I'm not like angry at it though. The coverage is still quite good. If you imagine this matte, it will get rid of some of those pores a little bit, or make everything look a little bit smoother. The color is still there. The coverage is still there. I'm just very, very shiny. So if I was to team this up with a powder afterwards, you know, later on in the day when I got a bit shiny, not instantly because I don't want to over powder, I think we will be good, you know, and maybe a mattifying primer underneath. It's not terrible. So here's my kind of summary. Oh, my microphone's really high up, sorry. So here's my kind of summary, right? If you're worried about the color change, absolutely go in store and have it, you know, have it tested. I got a good alternative shade just by looking at the chart online. I did buy extras just in case, because sometimes I don't trust those online comparison charts, you know what I mean? But this one was actually pretty good. If you are oily and your foundations, your powders tend to oxidize, go for the lighter shade they are suggesting, if they are suggesting more than one, but I think they do have their comparisons pretty well down. What am I saying? If you are worried about the formula, don't worry. This is how my skin would have sat with the usual Studio Fix. I think it's going to be absolutely fine. If you are a Studio Fix user, I think you're going to be good. I did have someone comment on my Instagram recently that they didn't want to use it because of a formula. I don't know whether they said they had tried it or not, but they said something about their skin type. So maybe do go, if you can, in store and test it. Even if it's just for 4 to 5 hours, go and test it. Go shopping, do whatever you need to do, and then come back and see how it's sitting on your skin in that time, if that is a concern for you. Okay, well, that will be my final conclusion then on whether or not you need to worry about the change, if you should get the foundation because it's new to you. Let me know what you think down below. Are you concerned about the formula change? Are you concerned about the difference? Are you going to stop buying it? Are you going to try and find the old formula on eBay? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing, and I will see you very soon. Bye.